The Washingtonville affordable housing project is rejected again.
Some residents are still waiting for the I-95 sound barriers to be finished.
Lyme disease is back in the news, and we'll have an update.
An MHS student wins the Science and Engineering Award from Intel.
An agreement has been reached concerning our water, and school election results are in. And it's all coming up right here on this edition of Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News.
Hello and welcome to the Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News Show for the 4th week of May 2001. I'm Sven Oehme.
And I'm Maura Carlin. Our top story. School budget votes are in, and our Sound Shore communities approved their budgets. The Mamaroneck school budget passed by a margin of more than 2-1, with 1,910 votes for and 826 against. Rhinebeck's budget had 595 in favor, with 276 against. And New Rochelle also approved its budget with better than double the votes. The bigger contest here was over school board positions. Both Mamaroneck and Rhinebeck had 3 candidates vying for 2 spots. And in both districts, an incumbent was unseated. For Mamaroneck school board member Judy Silberstein, 61 votes cost her spot and won it for challenger Cecilia Absher. Incumbent Robert Martin held his seat by a wide margin, but the race between Silberstein and Absher was so close, results weren't final until the day after the election. Now, this may sound familiar. Absentee ballots, 100 of them, had to be counted and checked with the Westchester County Board of Elections to verify the voters were properly registered. This race gained notoriety after the Independent Committee for the Selection of School Board Nominees did not endorse incumbent Silberstein and favored Absher. In Rhinebeck, school board incumbent Kathleen Galata was edged out by incumbent Robert Kelly and newcomer Evan Heller. Heller received 653 votes, followed by 495 for Kelly and only 30 less for Galata.
6 communities agreed to a water pact last week. The town of Mamaroneck, the village of Mamaroneck, Harrison, White Plains, Scarsdale and New Rochelle agreed to work on solving water pollution issues. George Latimer, the chairman of the County Board of Legislators, said at a ceremony, as quoted in the Journal News, "You see these river valleys and you see Long Island Sound and you don't see dotted lines. We are saying this issue isn't about dotted lines. It is about natural condition that was here before we got into office and will be here long after we are gone. We have to work together to do something that will stand the test of time and make for a better Long Island Sound." And Mamaroneck Mayor Debbie Chapin told the Journal News, quote, "We have to work with other communities. If you look at the map, you will see we're at the bottom of the watershed. What happens in White Plains affects what goes on into Long Island Sound and Mamaroneck Harbor. The problems with the Sheldrake and Mamaroneck rivers don't start in our little village. So it is critical that we not only tend to problems in our house, but that our neighbors tend to their houses as well." End of quote.
Washingtonville has received more bad news concerning the affordable housing it wants to build. Here with the details is Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel.
By a narrow 3-2 vote, the Mamaroneck Village Zoning Board rejected a plan by the Washingtonville Housing Alliance to create 6 new affordable housing units on Washington Street. Chairman of the board, Tony Voza, was quoted in the Times as saying, "It's out of character with the neighborhood. We're trying to squeeze 3 two-family homes in a 100 by 100 lot. I don't know where else in Mamaroneck you'll find that." But zoning board members Barry Weprin and Todd Nebel disagreed, expressing views that the Housing Alliance idea probably would have had the least impact on the neighborhood than any other development, particularly a commercial one. This zoning board decision was the 3rd one since November to go against the Housing Alliance. The plan, originally proposed last fall to build 4 four-story homes, was turned down. Earlier this year, a scaled-down proposal for 3 three-story buildings was sent back to the drawing board to address traffic and other effects on the neighborhood. According to Ellen Levy, Executive Director of the Housing Alliance, the Alliance is considering different options, including legal. It will still purchase the property at 726 Old White Plain Roads. For Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
Make the sound barrier. That's the cry of Village of Mamaroneck officials and residents to the New York State Thruway Authority. Last year's project to build wood noise barriers along Interstate 95 in Mamaroneck still isn't finished after the contractor abruptly stopped last year due to construction problems. Thruway Authority officials hope a new design will be ready next month, but Mamaroneck is keeping the heat on and the noise up to get them to honor their commitment. A number of residents plan to attend a Village Board of Trustees meeting on May 29th when a Thruway Authority official will be present to discuss the project. The meeting begins at 8 p.m. in the Municipal Building, 169 Mount Pleasant Avenue. Again, that's on May 29th.
4 Westchester County Commissioners have 2 positions in the administration of the county. As the Journal News reported, Anthony Landy is the Commissioner of Public Works and the Interim Commissioner of Environmental Facilities. Joshua Lipsman is the county's Health Commissioner and also the liaison to the gay, lesbian, bisexual and transgender community. Rocco Posi serves as Commissioner of Correction and as Commissioner of Probation. And Lawrence Sally is the Commissioner of Transportation and the Deputy Commissioner of Planning. The commissioners are only paid for one job. Landy, Posey, and Sally receive an annual salary of $135,335, and Lipsman gets $151,405. The practice that seems to be a trademark of County Executive Andrew Spanor's administration is looked upon with skepticism at the Westchester Board of Legislators. Republican Paul Noto, the minority leader, told the Journal News, quote, "It's probably not a good idea. Something has to give. One department is going to receive less attention than the other. So this may be an indication that we need to abolish some departments or combine them to make it more efficient," end of quote. And Democrat George Latimer, the County Board of Legislators chairman, seems to agree, quote, "An acting commissioner should be something you have on a temporary basis as a bridge. When an acting position has gone on this long, the Legislative Committee on County Offices and Departments should be looking into it," end of quote.
Spring is in the air, and that also means it's tick season. Time to think about Lyme disease, prevention, and cure. 280 people in Westchester County are known to have gotten the disease last year, and now research studies are underway to learn more about the illness and its treatment, particularly for those people whose symptoms don't go away. One study at the Westchester Medical Center is trying to determine if the Lyme organism can be located in the bloodstream of infected people, even if they have few or no symptoms. And Mount Kisco Dr. Daniel Cameron is looking at whether a 3-month course of antibiotic pills helps those who are not well even after earlier antibiotic treatments. And yet another study at Columbia University will examine whether a 10-week treatment with intravenous antibiotics works in patients with memory lapses or other cognitive problems that may be the result of chronic Lyme infection. When Lyme disease is found early, and most people do get that telltale red bullseye rash, the treatment is not in dispute. A short course of antibiotics, usually doxycycline or amoxicillin. And doctors say most people are back to normal after about 14 days. Okay.
And before we continue, we'd like to welcome 2 new members of our news show team, John Schwamm and Matthew Dwyer, who are behind the scenes right now, but eventually they may be in front of the camera too.
Welcome aboard, guys.
Some of our viewers may recognize this name, Jacqueline Gordon. And to fill us in, here's Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel.
Jacqueline Gordon, a student at Mamaroneck High School, along with fellow teammate Megan Hall of John Jay High School, took first place at the Intel International Science and Engineering Fair in the team category. Ms. Gordon, you may remember, was a finalist in the March competition held here in Westchester. And by being a finalist, Ms. Gordon was qualified to move on to the finals in San Jose, California. The team of Gordon and Hall received a $3,000 cash prize for their project on how binary star systems evolve. The 2001 Intel International Science and Engineering Fair took place in San Jose, California, and over 1,200 students from over 40 countries presented their projects to judges in 14 categories. The students were asked to write research papers, make a poster display, and 10 judges interviewed each student. Congratulations to all the students, and especially Jacqueline Gordon of Mamaroneck High School. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you would want to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 p.m. We record one show each week, and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV, channel 71.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can. Call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the news show. They'll try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers, either behind the scenes or as a reporter. Or maybe you'd like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we've got something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC-TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs across from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. We get things started around 7 p.m. and we would love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you'd like us to put on this news show, bring it to our studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Oehme.
And I'm Maura Carlin. We'll see you next time.
Larchmont Library turns 75.
The Village of Mamaroneck is in need of an architect.
Manhole covers get artistic facelift.
And Mamaroneck Town wants you to use its website.
And we have updates on the spray ground and the Village of Mamaroneck's waterfront moratorium. Those stories and more all right here on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
The Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News Show for the second week of June 2001. I'm Maura Carlin.
And I'm Alicia Myro. Our top story. All of Mamaroneck will again be a part of one legislative district, and local legislative districts will revert close to what they were before 1993 under the redistricting plan passed last week by the Westchester County Board of Legislators. George Latimer, chairman of the legislative body, is quoted in the Journal News saying, "These lines provide districts that are compatible and better balanced." Latimer's district will again encompass all of Mamaroneck Town and Village, picking up a small portion of Mamaroneck Village that was once grouped with Harrison, Portchester, and Rybrook under Republican Paul Noto. The new redistricting plan passed 10-6.
We all know that our Sound Shore community is rich with history. But did you know that the Larchmont Public Library has been around for 75 years? It opened its doors in 1926 on the very land where Samuel Palmer had his first farmhouse, built in 1701. Palmer was the first supervisor of the town of Mamaroneck. He bought the land from a gentleman named John Richbell, are you recognizing the names of these streets? Who himself had bought it from the Siwanoy Indians in 1661. In 1924, the father of playwright Edward Albee donated the land for the library. And when the Larchmont Public Library opened its doors, it had approximately 6,000 books and 45 periodicals. And look how far it's come. Now, the library owns more than 105,000 books, periodicals, and audiovisual materials. In 1990, on the way to the 21st century, the library was computerized, and it became part of the network of 38 Westchester independent libraries, which basically gives people access to these 38 libraries around the county without going anywhere. Connecting people to books has offered a way to connect people to each other as well. There are classes, book group discussions, and children's programs, just to name a few. And of course, there have been changes to the library building in the last 75 years. In 1994, another building was connected to provide more space for the library's collections. The Larchmont Public Library serves not only the village of Larchmont, but also the unincorporated area of the town of Mamaroneck. It's funded by both. Again, we wish the Larchmont Public Library a very happy 75th birthday.
Well, Mamaroneck Village is shopping around for an architect to help design a new firehouse and expand an aging village hall. 3 architects are being interviewed later this month to get the plans underway. The project being considered would include expanding the village hall, which is over 100 years old, from 7,500 to 10,000 square feet, and creating a 4-bay firehouse at 169 Mount Pleasant Avenue. The new government offices would free up space being used at the Regatta condominiums. Planning for the new facility began last year when officials decided to build a new firehouse as opposed to repair the century-old hook and ladder facility on Mamaroneck Avenue. Estimates to build a new 2-bay firehouse would cost just under $1 million. A committee of residents, officials, and firefighters formed to tackle this project and have met to coordinate the interviews. No costs have been determined at this time, but it is likely the project would be paid for through a bond referendum. Not to worry, however, all the information will go out to the public before a formal decision is made. We will keep you up to date on the renovation plans and public meetings. Some felt that moving village offices to the Regatta 3 years ago was a way to avoid renovations, but it is likely that tenants will move into the space at the Regatta if it is in fact vacated.
Art really is everywhere. At Larchmont resident Sam Goldberg has found it in a most unusual place where most people don't even look. Down in the street, can you guess? Manhole covers. That's right. For the last 4 years, Sam Goldberg has been designing manhole covers using images of New York icons like the Statue of Liberty, the New York Public Library, the Brooklyn Bridge, even the high-stepping Rockettes, for a kick. He's called his collection the New York Foundry, and it was recently exhibited at the New Rochelle Public Library's annual Spring Art Show. A marketing consultant by day, businessman Goldberg hopes he may be able to sell or license his images to New York City. Or he says, what about honoring celebrities instead of stars on Sunset Boulevard with manhole covers in New York City? To Goldberg, the sky's the limit when you're looking down.
Well, now for an update on the Village of Mamaroneck Spray Ground, here's Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel.
The Village of Mamaroneck Board of Trustees has decided that the spray ground will be installed on Johnson Beach at Harbor Island Park. The exact spot for the spray ground has yet to be determined. The spray ground will take up about 2,600 square feet of space on the beach and have several water spouts that will keep children and adults cool. The spray ground won't be operational until the summer of 2002 and will cost the village about $75,000. The rest of the money will come from a community development block grant. The spray ground has been in the planning stages since 1999 and was supposed to be ready this year, but was delayed by the Harbor Planning Board while a study was being completed. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
On June 13th, our community will be asked to vote on a school bond. Here with an interview is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray.
June 13th, it's coming. That means that the residents of Mamaroneck, they have another opportunity to vote. Why are we going to vote on Wednesday, June 13th, Rona?
Our school district is putting up a bond, which will be a $49.7 million bond for a 5-year program for repair and renovation and some building at all our school buildings.
All of the buildings will be involved.
That's right. This is for all 6 school buildings. Will have work done on them.
Yeah, so I imagine some form of updating electrical systems, and
Yes.
what other things will they be doing?
Well, we've always in the district had a 5-year plan where we keep renovating our buildings. We have over 1 million square feet of space in our district, and it gets hard use from our more than 4,000 students. And the buildings are old. You know, some of our buildings are about 100 years old, so we need constantly to be updating the internal systems. We have projects like heating and ventilation. There's a lot of projects involving flooring, asbestos removal.
Oh,
there's
still
plumbing.
removing asbestos.
Always removing asbestos. Every time you do something, there's asbestos underneath. We
Right.
discover, you never know where it is
The old
till you go in.
buildings, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
you have it.
But will the bulk of the money go to any particular building, or will it be 6 into 49 point whatever million?
No, about half of the money is for repairs throughout the buildings, but about 30 million of that will be directed towards the high school. And that includes a lot of new projects for really updating our high school and really bringing our high school to where we need it to be for our kids today. There are plans to have a new science laboratory wing, a new library. Our current library doesn't have the capacity to have technology, and now when kids do research, they have to be able to use computers as well as books. So we need...
So we need a 21st century environment
Absolutely.
for our pupils. Now, did I hear you say the population was 4,000 students?
in our entire district.
In the entire district?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
don't
a
think that
tremendous number
it is
now.
a lot. It
Oh,
is. We're but
so that's a lot
we're
of
doing
wear and tear.
It's a lot of wear and tear, and and as you know, as people require different types of space too. I mean, we really are at the point now where we need to really think about how we're going to integrate all our students in our program. We are looking at ways in which to bring the children into contact with adults in the most productive way, where some of this renovation will put all of our school counselors together and put them in the middle of the building where our kids pass by. You know, we have, you know, our high school is really two buildings, the Palmer and the Post
Right.
building, with a narrow corridor that connects the two of them. And this,
Right.
and it causes a lot because
Oh, so you're really going to reconfigure?
it's really going to reconfigure the space.
space.
We sometimes, some of our departments are scattered over both buildings.
Oh,
this will be
that's-
an opportunity
right.
to consolidate some of those
Right,
departments so that there'll be
absolutely,
more
yeah.
interaction between the teachers, with the students, and it will also enable us to do things like consolidate the counselors in one place where the children can, you know, be in contact with
now
them.
you said in the library. Now that the library of the 21st century, I imagine, is quite different than the library that I used. How will it be? More computers? What
Yes.
else will be going?
Right now, our computer lab is about a quarter of a mile away from our library, which makes it very difficult when students have to do, I mean, now students do projects, when they do projects, they use books, but they also use computers. And now, if a teacher takes a class to the library, then they have to walk, you know, to the other end of the building to use the computer lab. And that's really not the way students
So
research
the
anymore.
library will become more of a media center.
It will become more of a media center, and to do that we really need a different type of space. We have looked at our library, even with the last bond that we did 5 years ago, to try to bring it up to date and to be able to do these things, and we've had several architects look at it, and there's really no way to reconfigure the current library in a way that will be what we need for our students. So we will be adding an addition to the high school, and part of that addition will house a new library. It's also going to house a new large group instruction area, which is another thing that we really don't have in the high school. We have the small pace theater, and we have the big McLean theater, but we really don't have an area where 2 or 3 classes, for instance, could be together to do a test review session, to listen to a lecture in a more you know, just a 2 or 3.
So where will this other wing be, or is it just the room?
It's going to, no, it'll be a 3-story addition, which will go on the corner of what they call the B building, which is, as you look at the school from the Post Road, it's the blue annex, the, you know, the sort of...
Near the football field?
Yeah, it goes out to, it'll be right near the football field, right at that corner will be the addition.
No. Have we finished paying off the last bond?
Well, the Hummocks bond was 2 years ago. It's not completed, but we have worked on our budget, and we've looked at this bond, and we are going to be able to, with this bond, we will still be able to keep our budgets within the 6% or under budget increases because of a lot of different factors. It's not only some bonds go off, but we will also be able to guarantee that we'll have only like a 6% or under increases, which is what we've been able to do in this community for many years. And I think we've been very good at that. And when you look at some of the other communities and some of the budget increases, one of the ways we do that is by this kind of planning, is because we don't have surprise, oh my goodness, we need a new plumbing system. You know, we really plan ahead for what our needs are going to be, so we're able to spread the costs out over 15 years at a time, and we're able to...
So I hope the music department will get
the music department,
a nice share.
One of the nice things about the music department, they too will be consolidated in their space, and we're going to have practice rooms in the music department for the first time, which will be very nice.
Yes.
We'll have...
very talented students in this system. And what about special ed? Will there be anything additional for them? Has that population increased? Would you... I know you don't have all the figures with you.
The percentage is about the same. Obviously, as the student population increased, the numbers increased, the percentage has stayed pretty steady. The special ed, we in this district, we're trying to integrate more and more our special ed students with our regular ed and mainstream them. So that's the mandate from the government, and that's what we think is best for the students. So there will still be special ed offices, you know, to take care of the administrative aspects of that.
Great.
But we'll have our...
And where do we vote?
At our school buildings, at the elementary school buildings on June 13th, and at the 4 elementary schools.
Right. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So we look forward to June 13th
Thank you.
for voting for the bond.
That's right.
To bring us into the 21st century.
To bring us to the 21st century. Right. Thank you, Glenn.
See you.
And now for an update on the Village of Mamaroneck waterfront moratorium. Here's Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel.
The Mamaroneck Village Board of Trustees wants to extend the moratorium on waterfront development for another 2 months. The current 90-day moratorium is due to expire June 26th. The Village Planning Board and the Coastal Zone Management Committee have asked for more time to review the proposed changes to zoning in the area. Mayor Deborah Chapin has pointed out that the current zoning laws need to be clarified. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
The town of Mamaroneck wants you to use their website. For more, here's Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray.
The town of Mamaroneck now has a round-the-clock resource site available to everyone. The website is www.townofmamaroneck.org. You will be able to get updated information from various town departments, including the building and recreation departments. Residents can also print out meeting agenda and download application forms for parking permits and tax forms. The town would like you to be able to pay for permit fees online by using a credit card. Anyone with questions or comments about events in the town can also email the administration from the site. The town is looking forward to the website and its interactive capabilities. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Glenna Gray.
And the St. Vito's Festa gets underway this weekend. Here with the details is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Christina Bolger.
It's that time of the year again. It's time for the St. Vito's Festa, which means it's time for good food, good carnival rides, games, and prizes. The St. Vito's Festa has always been a high point for residents here in the village of Mamaroneck and really signals the start of summer. The St. Vito's Festa will take place June 21st through 24th and will get started around 6 p.m. and end around 11. So don't forget, Bring the wife, the kids, grandma and grandpa, and most of all, bring your appetite. The St. Vito's Festa is known far and wide for their great Italian food. So remember those dates, June 21st through the 24th, from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. for the St. Vito's Festa. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Christina Bolger. I'll see you there.
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 p.m. We record one show each week, and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV, channel 71.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the news show. They will try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers, either behind the scenes or as a reporter, or maybe you'd like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC-TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. We get things started around 7 p.m. and we'd love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you would like us to put on this news show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Maura Carlin.
And I'm Maura. We'll see you next week. Anyone know of a good location to put a firehouse in the village of Mamaroneck?
Teenage pregnancy makes the news, and we'll tell you why.
There's a new antibiotic that helps fight Lyme disease.
You can get paid by the government to remove lead paint from your home.
And we have the results of the Mamaroneck School Bond Vote, and Larchmont announces their Police Officer of the Year. Those stories and more coming up right here on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
Hello and welcome to the Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News Show for the 3rd week of June 2001. I'm Sven Oehme.
And I'm Maura. Our top story? Well, the voters have had their say on the Mamaroneck Schools Bond referendum, and here with an interview is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray.
Come back.
Thank you.
I know you're happy.
I'm very happy.
Now, why do I think you're happy?
Well, I'm very happy because our community, once again, has just been wonderful and very supportive of our educational system, and our bond has passed.
That bond was 49.7.
That's correct.
All right. And how many years will this bond be in effect?
We will be borrowing money over the next 5 years. We're drawing down money over 5 years to make these repairs and improvements and construction projects.
Now, as a taxpayer, how will this impact on the taxes?
We are going to be able to make this as part of our budget and be able to keep our budgets within the same kind of increases that we've had over the last, I don't know, 8 or 9, 10 years, which is 6% or under. So, in fact, although the debt service may be a bigger proportion of the budget, it will not affect the taxpayers in terms of the increase in budget of a large increase in a budget-to-budget increase.
Because I hear several senior citizens were discussing the fact that this is going to add $400 or $500 more per year to their output. And we are an aging society, although many people do leave the Larchmont Mamaroneck community once their children are grown. Well, would that be an actual figure? Do they have it correct?
No, what we do is because we want to represent honestly exactly what's going on. So we want to be able to say how much the bond actually costs on a year-to-year basis per citizen, which is in those $300, $400 per year. But they don't pay for it separately, and they don't pay for it in addition to the school taxes. It all becomes part of our debt service in the school taxes. And we have looked at the figures, and we know that we will be able to keep our budget-to-budget increases at the same rate that they've been, which is basically at about a 6% or under increase. And there are a lot of factors for that, because there are other bonds that get paid off. There are differences in the salaries. We have a lot of our older teachers are retiring. We have a lot of teachers that are, have been in our system 25, 30, 35 years.
Do you know the top salary of those teachers?
I don't have that at the top. My
and what's the entering salary? I know it varies depending upon the masters, how many credits.
I think, that's right. It depends on how much experience they come with in their education.
But a ballpark figure.
And I would say, I hate to even give you that, because
all right, next time we'll look at those. Next time
I'll bring it with you. I wasn't ready for that, but it does give us some flexibility as we hire. In the last 5 years, over 50% of our staff is new. And
50%? Oh my goodness.
So we are having those kinds of changes. So for a lot of different reasons, we are able to actually be able to fund a project, a really important project like this, without, I think, it being an undue burden on our taxpayers, and we're very conscious of that.
Do you have any idea of when work will begin?
Absolutely. As soon as school lets out in the high school, we will be starting. In the last 2 years, we have set aside some money in our budget to renovate the science rooms. And so the bond was the last third of that money. But we already do have some money, and we've been able to send our plans to Albany, and hopefully our plans will be approved, and we will start work on the new science wings this summer. And hopefully, by the time we start school in September, the first 2 floors of that new science wing will be
I'm glad you said that, because many people don't even realize that you have to send this to Albany first. They think everything just happens right here in
everything that we do has, all the plans have to be drawn up. They all have to be sent up and approved in Albany. And actually, that can, because there's so much construction all over the county, that can actually be a pretty long process now. It can take 6, 7, 8 months. So one of the important things in passing the bond was to be able to have that lead time to get our plans final, because we don't finalize our plans until we know that there's going to be enough money. We don't extend that money until we know that we're going to be able to do it. So we have to finalize the plans. They have to go up to Albany. They have to be approved.
Now, I also heard, of course, on the grapevine,
yes.
small town, USA, some complaints or some discussion about the cafeterias. And would they be redone? Why they're not being used? Because all the children running out on the post road at lunchtime.
Well, one of the things that we've looked at very carefully, and one of the things that we think is really an important part of the renovation at the high school, will be to really have a central student center, where we're going to be trying to have all the student activities and a new type of cafeteria. Unfortunately, one of our cafeterias now is in the basement of a building, and the other one is up on the 3rd floor of the post building. They're both at the far ends of the building. They're very isolated, and they're not places where kids really tend to gather in a natural way. And they're just these big barn-like rooms, and they're not inviting or attractive to kids. The kids want a space that feels more comfortable to them. We will, instead of a large room like that, the idea behind the design will be that it'll have some smaller areas so different groups of kids can spend time together. And it's really, it really is, we hope, and it's our plan, that the kids will actually be more interested in staying in because
But
they'll
will
have a
the-
more attractive and more child-friendly place for them to spend time with their friends.
That's interesting. It just popped into my head now. Do the students have any input? Will they ask what they would like?
Yes, well, we have had a committee working on this well, actually, as I say, from the beginning, our architect has really been wonderful in terms of really, before she put any even small picture on a piece of paper, she walked around and she talked to students, she talked to teachers, she talked to administrators, she talked to guidance counselors, she talked to staff, she talked to the art department, she talked to the music department, and she really listened to what everybody talked about, what worked for the building, what didn't work so well, what their concerns were, what things they wished they had that they didn't have. And she really took a lot of time and really made long and careful notes and really developed the real important issues in the school. And we really came up with the idea that we really need our school to be more unified, because now it's kind of, because it's the way the school was built, it's sort of two buildings connected by a little narrow corridor like a barbell, and the kids kind of zoom back and forth. It's a quarter of a mile from end to end, so it's a really considerable distance, and some of our departments are spread out over those two buildings, which really isn't conducive to collaborative work.
Right.
And it doesn't really, and there's kind of no center, so the kids are just kind of where they are at different times.
No, that's better. And then for new teachers that come in, they will have a sense of being someplace rather than having a new teacher come in and then in one department and the department's at the other end of the building and the new teacher doesn't find his or her way. But if I remember correctly, the third floor cafeteria had murals.
It does have beautiful.
Are they still there?
No, yes, they're still there. Those were WPA murals. One of the reasons that actually when we were looking for an architect, we looked at different buildings that different people had worked on, and we particularly liked Barbara Geddes, the woman that we chose, because she was so sensitive to those kinds of historical details, and she is very interested in the murals. She's getting some help from the Larchmont Historical Society in researching the murals and everything. So we think that they're a treasure for our school, and we really are hoping that.
When do you think the cafeteria will be finished?
Well, that is part of the new the new addition that we'll be putting on is going to house our new library. So as that gets built, we'll be moving the library into the new space, and what is now the library in the high school will become the student center.
Oh, all right.
And so that will become the cafeteria, the dining area, and also there'll be places in that same area for clubs and meeting rooms for the different activities, because now also the clubs meet in the teachers' classrooms, and again, it can be,
it is a large structure.
Isolating.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
And we're hoping that we'll be bringing a lot of kids to the center, because one thing we know about kids is they like to see each other.
Oh, students love to
and they
be
like to
with
kind
each other.
Well, they like to be with their group, but they like to see what the other ones are doing as well.
Yes.
So
now, what about the memorial site?
when our initial proposal came, we were looking for a way to build another field, because we have a tremendous demand now on our athletic program, which is a wonderful program and which really involves a lot of our children in really worthwhile activities after school, and has been very helpful. Every year we have a number of teams that are scholar athletes, which are kids that have maintained a 90 average while participating in athletics. So it's a wonder. It's more than athletics. It really is a way that kids stay involved in school activities as well. It's a hook for a lot of kids.
Sound mind and a sound body.
Right, and our facilities are limited, and so we've been looking for a way to find another field. So in the original proposal, there was a thought to turn the football field 90 degrees, so it would be parallel to the post road, and to be able to put a soccer field next to it. But in order to do that, it involved it would involve having to move the memorial. We didn't realize quite all the ramifications of that. When we found out that there was so much concern by the family and the community, we withdrew that proposal. So none of that will be financed by any money in this bond. We cannot use legally any of the money of the bond to do that. So I think in the next year or so, we still have the concern of wanting to have another field, so I think we'll be looking at the issue, but I think we need obviously a lot more conversations with the community, and I think the community needs to have more input, and we really need to understand
Now, who
what we
will
can and can't
oversee
do.
all of this construction? Are you, as the president?
Well, no. They did give me a hard hat, but I'm not sure I'll be out there every day with a hammer. But, well, the Deputy Superintendent for Operations, Sarah Tate, has overall responsibility for all of this. At the Hummocks, where we also have started our work, we have hired a company which is actually working as a construction supervisor. And so far that's working out very well, and they're acting to do a lot of being the liaison between, you know, staff and the construction workers, and they're listening, they're helping us with any problems that we have in the community with, you know, parking, and helping us with issues if parents have concerns about students and things like that. And so far that has worked out well. So I think we'll probably, when we look at this, we will probably look to do that.
Well, I know you'll be coming back to see us, because there's a lot of work that will be going on. So every month I look forward.
I hope so.
With your hard hat.
And we would. Well, we're very interested in keeping the community informed about the project.
The community does like to be
I think
kept
that
informed.
they should be, because they've certainly done a wonderful thing here. And
so the seniors won't get a chance to take advantage. So the freshmen coming in will really enjoy all of this wonderful new facilities.
They will get.
But that's life.
Well, one of the things though that has happened is that the architect has sort of built in something new every year, so that even starting next year, there will be some new things for every student. Maybe not, you know.
Well, I hope the students appreciate all of this.
I think they will. I think
so we'll see you
enjoy
next month again.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
It was fun.
While preparations for the Firemen's Carnival are in full swing, the discussion about a new location for a firehouse continues. The Village Board has proposed constructing the new 4-bay facility behind Village Hall. A 7-2 majority of the 9-member Firehouse Committee supports the plan too. The 4-bay firehouse would replace 2 of the existing Mamaroneck Village firehouses. Residents are concerned about destroying the area around Village Hall. They also fear the increase in traffic around the facility, and others are concerned about the noise. With the building of the firehouse, Village Hall would be expanded by 7,500 to 10,000 square feet. Village offices may then be relocated from the Regatta to Village Hall.
Westchester has more than $3 million to give out, but landlords and homeowners aren't applying. The money is to go toward making homes and apartments lead-free. Lead is most commonly found in the paint used in homes. Lead paint chips are found in many buildings that were built before the paint was outlawed by Congress in 1978. The chips, usually found on doorways, moldings, and windowsills, can chip and create dust, which finds its way onto fingers, toys, and into the dirt around buildings. In 1999, 759 Westchester children had elevated levels of lead in their systems. Although the number has decreased from previous years, the dangers have still affected Westchester residents. As of September 2000, landlords who accept federal vouchers for rents under Section 8 guidelines must have their buildings inspected for chipping and peeling lead paint. To apply for grants, you must be an owner of a single or multi-family home in Westchester and meet certain income guidelines. Priority is given to households in which children under age 6 have reported elevated levels of lead. Grants of up to $5,000 are available. Income guidelines for a one-person household is $48,080, and a two-person household is $54,880. Further information about the grants and income guidelines for larger families is available by calling 995-2433.
Ralph Martinelli, the publisher of 8 newspapers in Westchester County, is suing the county clerk for First Amendment violations. Martinelli charges that County Clerk Leonard Spano punished him for articles that accused Spano of malfeasance and incompetence. Martinelli says that ads worth more than $225,000 were pulled from the papers. Spano's chief of staff, Gene Roberts, admitted that some problems at the office that Martinelli's papers had documented had been taken care of. He did not comment on the lawsuit. Spano is seeking re-election to the office in November, and he has been Westchester County Clerk for 2 terms.
With Lyme disease still causing a stir in our area, news about an antibiotic that could prevent it is big news. A single dose of an antibiotic costing about $1 has been shown to prevent Lyme disease in about 87% of people, if taken within 3 days of finding and removing a tick, according to a study released last week. Side effects of the antibiotic include nausea and vomiting. The 10-year study, conducted by researchers at Westchester Medical Center and New York Medical College in Valhalla, focused on people bitten by deer ticks in Westchester County. The study will be published in the July 12th edition of the New England Journal of Medicine. But for a preview, you can head to www.nejm.org. Currently, the only way to prevent Lyme disease is with a vaccine called Lymerix, followed by antibiotics once the illness is recognized. State statistics show that 280 people in Westchester County contracted Lyme disease last year.
Tourism has become an important part of the Westchester economy. We may not think of the county as a tourism destination, but the numbers certainly speak for themselves. Last year, visitors spent $1.7 billion annually. The county tax revenue was approximately $52.4 million. The numbers are especially impressive when one looks at the increase over the last 5 years. In 1995-96, tourism-related spending was $1 billion, and the county tax-related tourism was only $30 million. Tourism in Westchester is promoted by the Office of Tourism, that is part of the Westchester Office of Economics. Has a budget of about $700,000 per year. The office took over from the now defunct Westchester Convention and Visitors Bureau, which was operated by the Westchester County Chamber of Commerce until the end of last year.
Okay. Well, the results are in on teenage pregnancy rates, and to fill us in, here's Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Maura Carlin.
Teenage pregnancy rates continue to decline. New data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows that in 1997, about 9.4% of all girls between the ages of 15 and 19 became pregnant. That's about 872,000 girls. Of these, about 55% gave birth, 29% had abortions, and the rest miscarried. The good news is that the teen pregnancy rate fell nearly 4.5% between 1996 and 1997, continuing a downward trend that started in the early 1990s. Overall, between 1991 and 1997, the teen pregnancy rate went down 19%, and the abortion rate fell by nearly a third since 1990 and has also hit a record low. Why the decline? Well, federal surveys show that during the 1990s, teens were more likely to use birth control and less likely to have sex. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Maura Carlin.
June 22nd is this year's date for the annual Dancing on the Water event. The dinner dance is organized by the Resource Foundation and will be held at the Larchmont Yacht Club. Tickets are $100 per person and can be ordered by calling the Resource Foundation at 914-834-5810. As always, the Stan Rubin Orchestra will provide the music, guests will receive door prizes, and there's also a raffle featuring many valuable gifts. The Resource Foundation, a Larchmont-based non-profit membership agency, was founded in 1987 to cultivate productive relationships between sustainable private development organizations in Latin America, selective donors worldwide by leveraging capital and information resources to increase the self-reliance and living standards of the disadvantaged. The Resource Foundation currently supports 54 non-profit members in 16 Latin American countries. It has raised $9 million from individuals, foundations, and corporations, and also religious groups. And it has arranged for another $4.5 million in matching grants. Alicia?
Well, the Larchmont Police Officer of the Year is, well, we'll let Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel have the honors. Amy.
And the Larchmont Police Officer of the Year is Scott Schnall. Officer Schnall was picked from 27 other candidates to be Larchmont's Police Officer of the year 2000. Larchmont's Chief of Police, Stephen D. Rubeo, was quoted in the Town and Sound report saying, "Officer Schnall is an outstanding officer who is always willing to serve." And the chief added, "Officer Schnall always serves in a cheerful manner." Officer Scott Schnall joined the Larchmont Police Force on June 1st, 1994. Besides having excellent community policing skills, Officer Schnall is also responsible for writing grants for the police department and has been very successful. Last year, he received a citation for saving the life of a resident who was choking on a piece of food. He received another citation for catching a burglary suspect. Only 31 years old, Officer Scott Schnall will be policing Larchmont for many years to come, and that's just the way the community and the Larchmont Police Force want it. Congratulations to Larchmont's Police Officer of the Year, Scott Schnall. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel. Keep up the good work, Scott.
The St. Vito's Festa gets underway this weekend, and here with the details is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Christina Bolger.
It's that time of the year again. It's time for the St. Vito's Festa, which means it's time for good food, good carnival rides, games, and prizes. The St. Vito's Festa has always been a high point for residents here in the village in Mamaroneck and really signals the start of summer. The St. Vito's Festa will take place June 21st through 24th and will get started around 6 p.m. and end around 11. So don't forget, bring the wife, the kids, grandma and grandpa, and most of all, bring your appetite. The St. Vito's Festa is known far and wide for their great Italian food. So remember those dates, June 21st through the 24th, from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. for the St. Vito's Festa. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Christina Bolger. I'll see you there.
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at about 7 p.m. and record show week, and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV channel 71.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the news show. They will try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers either behind the scenes or as a reporter. Or maybe you'd like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC-TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. We get things started around 7 p.m. and we would love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you would like us to put on this news show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Oehme.
And I'm Alicia Myra. We'll see you next week. Surprise in the Westchester job market.
It's time again to look at the quality of our drinking water.
Attention club owners, permits may now be required before you can hold functions.
Bad news for students who took the SAT-2 tests. You may have to take them again.
And we have an update on the West Nile virus, something exciting going on at the Hommocks Pool, and some news about your drinking water. Those stories and more all right here on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
to the Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News Show for the last week of June 2001. I'm Sven Oehme.
And I'm Alicia Myro. Our top story. If you're looking to celebrate something special, such as a wedding, bar mitzvah, communion, sweet 16, or anniversary, at one of Mamaroneck's 3 waterfront clubs, you may require a special permit from the village. Under proposed zoning changes, non-members of the Mamaroneck Beach and Yacht Club, Orienta Beach Club, and Beach Point Club would have to apply for a permit from the building inspector before hosting events of more than 200 people. The legislation is designed to limit traffic on local streets, keep road access for emergency services, and to ensure that the clubs obey the zoning regulations and principally serve their members. Some view the proposed regulations as burdensome to the clubs, but others view it as an effective way to limit noise pollution. We'll keep you updated.
Westchester's job market has not been hit by the economic slowdown yet. May numbers for Westchester County continue to paint a bright picture. Westchester showed record high job growth numbers and record low unemployment figures. The unemployment rate for the county for May was 2.8%, the same percentage number as last year. However, Westchester's rate was up by 0.2 percentage points. In April, the rate was 2.6%. Similar rates were recorded for Putnam and Rockland counties. Putnam's unemployment rate was 2.2% in April. In Rockland, the rate was 2.6%. As a comparison, the state unemployment rate in May was 4%, down from 4.1% recorded for April. Westchester County had an increase of 6,200 jobs from last year. Growth sectors were transportation and public utilities, health and social services, and construction and mining. Similar results were found for Putnam and Rockland counties.
The Washingtonville Housing Alliance has made a new purchase for $385,000. The purchased property is located at 726 Old White Plains Road and is currently occupied by a 3-family home and a couple of stores. The goal is to transform the building into a 4-story apartment building within the next 2 years. The Washingtonville Housing Alliance is a not-for-profit organization founded in 1980, and it helps low-income families find affordable housing in Larchmont and Mamaroneck. The new apartment building will have 12 rental units available for those earning between 50% and 60% of Westchester County's median income of $79,900. The project would total $2.24 million and would be funded by various state and county grants. Current plans do not need to be approved by the board because they meet village zoning laws. Demolition and construction would not begin until a year from now, so we'll keep you posted.
There's enough water in the reservoirs this year, but federal and state officials are concerned about the quality of the water. The system that serves Westchester and New York City is threatened by sewage contamination and polluted runoff. Unless a better supervision of the system is put in place, the construction of a multi-billion-dollar filtration plant may be inevitable. Of special concern is the Croton water system. It provides about 10% of the water used by the 9 million residents in Westchester and New York City. The city is under federal court order to build a filtration plant for the Croton system. In April, an Environmental Protection Agency order that allows New York City to avoid filtration of the water collected in the other reservoirs of the system is going to end. And should the EPA determine then that the city is not doing enough to protect the water, water from these other systems will also have to be filtered. The FPA is especially concerned that 107 sewage treatment plants in the watershed area have not been upgraded. The deadline for the upgrade is May 2002.
Well, could the tide finally be turning on the West Nile virus? Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Maura Carlin has the story.
Good news on the West Nile virus front. West Nile is almost under control in New York. New York State Health Commissioner Dr. Antonio Novello says the state is concentrating this year on killing the mosquito larvae and hope to prevent the adult mosquitoes from posing a threat to people in late July and August. But spraying will not be the primary weapon. According to Dr. Novello, there will be pesticide spraying only if there's an imminent risk to human health. Counties will decide whether to spray based on local outbreaks of the disease. And Westchester County, as well as neighboring Rockland and Putnam counties, has chosen not to spray and instead is treating catch basins and other larvae breeding sites with larvicide designed to kill mosquito eggs before they mature. So far this year, 2 dead crows, one in Yorktown and one in Clarkstown, have been found to be infected with the disease. For Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Maura Carlin.
By the end of last week, the regular session of the legislature in Albany was scheduled to end. Compared to previous sessions, not much was achieved this year. 56 new laws have been approved, and last year the number was 100 laws. Among the items on the agenda but still not resolved are, as always, the state budget, Superfund legislation, a reform of Rockefeller-era drug laws, lawyers for the poor. The State Assembly, where the Democrats have a majority, had to return this Monday to work on the budget. The Republican-controlled Senate has announced that it will return once the Assembly has agreed on a budget. The Assembly is at odds with Governor Pataki over spending. It wants to spend $2.4 billion more on education and health care than the governor's budget proposal provides. Alicia?
Well, there is some bad news for students who took the SAT-2 test. You may have to take them again. Here with the details is Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray.
Once again, the Educational Testing Service is facing another problem with its college placement tests. The testing service has announced it would throw out 1,000 scores from the SAT-2 biology examination. It seems the test in question had been given previously and had become available as a practice review test for students. Some educators are wondering about the validity of the test since it was administered X number of years ago. Students will be informed that they will have to repeat a Bio 2 exam. For some students, this will become a burden because many students still have the New York State Regents to take. The options given will be for the student to take the exam again in June, repeat the test in the fall, or take a refund. Tom Ewing of the ETS regrets the inconvenience this situation has caused. However, they are still investigating how the test got out. For Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Glenna Gray.
We hear a lot about single moms in the news. Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Maura Carlin has a story on single dads making the news.
Following the national trend, the number of fathers raising children without a mother at home rose over 60% in Westchester County during the last 10 years. That brings the number of single fathers in the county to 4,528, up from 2,819. That number, though, is still dwarfed by the number of single mothers here, now 21,174, but that's only an increase of 29% over the last decade. The reason? Well, experts point to a breakdown in traditional parenting roles, which once sent men to work and kept women at home. And as nuclear families continue to split by divorce, the number of men raising the children has grown. For Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Maura Carlin.
Almost Pool has opened, and not a moment too soon. Here with the details is Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel.
Well, the summer is finally here. And with the warm weather, it's nice to know there's a place one can go to cool off, the Hommocks Pool. Officially opened this past week, and not a moment too soon. With the temperatures climbing into the 90s and humidity going even higher, everyone needs a place to cool off. Hommocks Pool is open on the weekends from 10 a.m. to 8:40 p.m. and during the week from noon to 8:40 p.m. The toddler and training pools will close at 7 p.m. Residents looking to apply for a pool pass can fill out an application at the Town Recreation Office at the Mamaroneck Town Center. That's at 740 West Boston Post Road. And you can also use the town's new website and download the application at www.townofmamaroneck.org. And you can always call the town for information at 381-7865. For Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel. stay cool and have fun.
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 p.m. We record one show each week, and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV channel 71.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the news show. They'll try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers behind the cameras or as a reporter. Or maybe you'd like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do. Do keep in mind that we will be on hiatus during the summer.
The LMC-TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue site, just up the stairs across from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. We get things started around 7 p.m. and we would love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you would like us to put on this news show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Oehme.
And I'm Maura. We'll see you in September.
Have a great summer.
Absolutely. Looks like it's going to be hot. Flight path changes fill our sky with planes.
A convicted cop killer is denied parole.
Are pirates littering the beach at Harbor Island Park?
Permits are now required for some club functions.
And we'll have a sneak preview of the wild and wacky raft race that was held at Harbor Island Park, so stay right here and get ready for this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
Hello and welcome to the Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News Show for the second week of September 2001. I'm Amy Schachtel.
And I'm Maura. Our top story. In the ongoing battle about tennis at Harbor Island, a state Supreme Court justice has ruled that Harborview Racket Club, the operator of the tennis bubble since 1978, can continue with a lawsuit against Sport Time, a Long Island company that the village selected to build an indoor tennis and multi-sport center in the park. In the libel lawsuit, Harborview Racket Club asks for $60 million. The lawsuit alleges that a Sport Time representative wrote letters that were signed by local residents to damage the reputation of Harborview Racket Club and its president. The dispute about who will operate the tennis bubbles in Harbor Island Park continues. The village was defeated in court earlier this year when the court ruled that the village had violated Harborview's right of first refusal when it selected Sport Time over Harborview to build the new facility. The village is now appealing the decision.
The fierce discussion in Mamaroneck Village about whether non-members who plan to have big parties at the village's 4 waterfront clubs need special permits seems to be over. Under a new proposal that is on the agenda of this week's Board of Trustees meetings, the clubs will have to get 3-year permits to have such big parties for non-members at their facilities. The clubs affected by this legislation are Mamaroneck Beach and Yacht Club, Orienta Beach Club, Beach Point Club, and the Hampshire Country Club. The law will take effect in 2004, when the clubs will have to apply for the permits. The attorney for one of the clubs, Mamaroneck Beach and Yacht Club, Paul Noto, the former mayor of Mamaroneck Village, was quoted in the Journal News as saying, "Since there is no problem that needs to be addressed, they're essentially legislating into a vacuum." End of quote. In his view, the clubs have been an asset to the community for more than 60 years, and there has never been formal complaints about noise or other problems originating from the clubs.
Well, Larchmont and Mamaroneck residents have taken notice of increased airspace noise this summer, and many say that aircrafts bound for LaGuardia have been flying by with greater frequency, and some even say they're flying lower. Residents in our area have been so disturbed that they held public meetings. In attendance were 100 residents, along with Larchmont Mayor Cheryl Louie, Representative Nita Lowy, and officials from the FAA and the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. It was explained that one of LaGuardia's 2 runways was shut down on the weekend since June for construction, which led to increased air traffic on runway 422, which runs northeast to southeast, and this has caused increased air traffic in Lower Westchester. Representative Nita Lowy is pushing for longer-term solutions, such as replacing older and louder planes with more efficient, quieter models. Unfortunately, the problem is not going to be alleviated anytime soon. So for some, windows will continue to rattle, and we'll keep you updated on any news of changes.
Changes to the marine recreation law will affect anyone planning to build near the waterline. Under a proposal that will become law this week, the Board of Trustees will adopt a law that will require a special permit for any structure to be built within 50 feet of the waterline of Long Island Sound, the Sheldrake, and Mamaroneck rivers. Existing structures or buildings that need to be repaired because of a fire or flooding will be exempt from the law. The main reason for the change in the law is the protection of the environment.
Patrolman Arthur DeMatti was a Larchmont police officer killed in 1976. His killer, 48-year-old Anthony Blanks, was recently denied parole to the relief of Officer DeMatti's family. Blanks committed the crime back on October 12, 1976, at the age of 23. Witnesses claim he snatched DeMatti's revolver after the officer had turned his back. After shooting DeMatti, Blanks tried to escape in his police car, but was shot by another officer and taken into custody. Found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to 25 years to life, he became eligible for parole this year. Officer DeMatti left a wife and 4 children behind. Blanks will be eligible for another parole hearing in 2 years. To mark the 25th anniversary of the murder, the police department will hold a ceremony on October 13th at DeMatti's memorial site on Palmer Avenue. A reception will follow at American Legion Hall.
Pirates are invading our shores and spreading their garbage all over Harbor Island Beach? Well, one pirate anyway. We go now to Harbor Island, where our camera crew is standing by. Had you scared for a moment?
Pollution beats a robber. You know, a pirate. And all pirates are stealing things from people. And pollution is stealing our clean beaches, our clean streets, fouling the air and fouling our waters. And when it comes to dumping your garbage on the beach, no better place to do it but close this jewel of the harbor. Get rid of all this garbage.
Everybody came to watch the pirate, but then...
Filthy pirate! You damn lubbler! Get out here, I'm Captain Clean, and I'm gonna tow you out to sea where you belong. Look at the mess you made here, you lousy one. What?
You're not supposed to be here until September 15th.
Why?
September 15th, we clean up this mess. Meanwhile, it's my day to pollute.
Look at the mess you made. I'm gonna take that line and tow you out here.
No, I'm here to ruin the jewel.
No. You're coming now.
You leave the pollution be.
You're coming with me, lad. I'll tow it out there, and I'll put it where it belongs.
Captain Clean came in today to demonstrate that all of us take part in helping to clean up our environment. Now, on September 15th, the village has an opportunity to come together as a team, work together, and clean up the whole watershed. September 15th, rain date September 16th. Now, it doesn't have to be those only 2 days. It's our lifetime. It's our attitudes and bad habits that are causing these problems. And once we start correcting them and make a community effort, it'll be done. We can fight pollution, Pete. Even though I like to be out there trying to win the race, I think I'm fighting a losing battle one day.
Well said, Pollution Pete.
Had you scared for a moment, didn't I? The Harbor Island cleanup will take place this Saturday, the 15th. And if it rains, the rain date will be by the 16th, starting at 9 a.m.
And residents on Jefferson Avenue had quite a scare this past week. Here with the details is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Christina Bolger.
Residents on Jefferson Avenue were evacuated from their homes, and 10 trains were delayed this past week when a fire broke out due to cut electric power lines. The Beaver Tree Service was cutting down a branch that tore down wires at 801 Jefferson Avenue in the Rhinebeck area this past week. The electric power was cut off quickly. No one was injured, and the Mamaroneck Fire Department had everything under control in about 2 hours. Over 40 firefighters worked on the fire. 10 Metro North trains were also delayed for about 70 minutes while the firemen fought the fire. Reporting for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Christina Bolger.
The Village of Mamaroneck Recreation Department held its annual Wacky Raft Race 2 weeks back, and this year even LMC-TV got into the act. Wacky boats from our area competed in a quick race around Harbor Island Beach. The event is in its 4th season, and every year it gets wackier and wackier. The winners were 2 volunteer firemen from the Village of Mamaroneck, John Paul and Kevin McLeod, with a time of 4 minutes and 24 seconds. LMC-TV came in second with a time of 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Piloting the LMC-TV raft were Tristan LeClaire, Hosea Squiva, Marco Ray, and Alex Michaud. Other competitors were 12-year-old Rob Hanley, who captained the dragon-headed raft called the Village Viking. Hanley and his crew won an award for the most original raft and crew design. Joe Angeletta and crew received a similar award for their raft called Beach Boys Booze Cruise. LMC-TV will air the event as soon as we can finish editing it.
Well, that's not too shabby. Second place.
No, we had fun.
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
And if you want to see this new show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 p.m. We record one show each week, and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV, channel 71.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the new show. They'll try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this new show is an all-volunteer effort, and we can always use a few more volunteers in front of or behind the camera, or maybe you like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we would love to see you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC-TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs across from the landmark Walter's Hot Dog Stand. We get things started around 7 p.m., so come on by some night.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you'd like us to put on this new show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Amy Schachtel.
And I'm Alicia Myro. It's great to be back, and we'll see you next week.
I had a lot of fun tonight.
Have a good summer.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Mamaroneck Town hires a new basic life support coordinator.
The Manor Park gazebo is in need of some loving care.
Glenna Gray will give us a little history lesson on the town of Mamaroneck.
The leaders in our area are pushing the county to finish the sound barriers along I-95.
And we'll have all the details about the Rhinebeck Community Golf Outing and the Coast Guard Auxiliary Fall and Winter Boating classes. Those stories and more all right here on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
Hello and welcome to the Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News Show for the third week of September 2001. I'm Maura Carlin.
And I'm Alicia Myro. We start our news show this week on a sad note.
The terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center and the surrounding area, the Pentagon, and the downed airplane that crashed near Pittsburgh has left our area and the rest of our nation numb and in shock.
All of us here on Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News would like to express our deepest sympathy to everyone who has suffered a loss from this terrible tragedy. We must all try to take comfort in the fact that if history teaches us anything, it is that America will overcome this tragedy and become stronger and more unified than ever.
And on that note, we hope you'll join us when we end this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News with a moment of silence. For now, our local news.
Local officials are putting the pressure on thruway officials to reduce the noise coming from the road surface on I-95. Mamaroneck Town Supervisor Valerie Moore O'Keefe has been very proactive about getting the gap in the noise barrier between Weaver Street and Rockland Avenue filled immediately. The Thruway Authority stopped construction of the wall after the contractor didn't fulfill its contract requirements and went over budget. O'Keefe says she has received assurances from Assemblyman Ronald Tochi that the work will be finished. Mayor of Mamaroneck Village, Deborah Chapin, has also been asking the Thruway Authority to finish a 700-foot gap in the wall on Bradley Avenue. An I-95 citizens group has also worked to resolve the problems with the roadway. The Thruway Authority is promoting a $5.5 million resurfacing project that will give I-95 a new diamond ground surface from the New Rochelle Toll to Port Chester. Many feel that this may help, but is not good enough.
As another summer unofficially ended, so did the chance for swimming this year at Harbor Island Beach. For the second straight summer, the beach in Mamaroneck has been closed for swimming due to high levels of pollution. Coliform and fecal coliform levels tested up to 100 times higher than recommended by the New York State Sanitary Code for bathing beaches. And officials have not been able to find the source of the problem other than 2 sewage leaks at Harmon Drive and Tompkins Avenue, despite spending over $70,000. But Village of Mamaroneck officials say they are committed to finding and fixing the problem for next summer. They are working with the village's consulting engineer to set up a plan to examine the Guion Creek and the Mamaroneck River from now until next summer, and are hopeful positive results will develop.
Well, swimmers may have a negative view of the water quality, but fishermen have been divided in their opinion. For more, here's Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray.
Sport fishing on Long Island Sound can be big business, and it can impact the environment. More than 8 million people live around the Sound. In 1990, the Sound contributed approximately $5 billion to the region's economy. Of this $5 billion, $1.2 billion came from sport fishing. From the 19th century, the Sound was a source for food and commercial use. Estuaries produce diverse ecosystems, which can be very vulnerable to outside influences. When there are die-offs in the Sound, it is a sign that an ecosystem is in stress. Some fishermen believe the commercial fishermen drive away fish. Also, the dredging has killed plants. Therefore, the fish leave because their food has decreased. The reason for the marine disease which led to the great die-off of lobsters in the Sound was not discovered. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Glenna Gray.
Violence prevention, could there be a more timely topic? Our own Amy Schachtel spoke with Marianne Gardner, the Executive Director of Child Care of the YMCA of Greenwich, about this topic.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I'm here with Marianne Gardner, thank you for coming. Marianne, I understand you're running a course now on violence prevention. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing, when, and where?
Okay, we're going to be having an upcoming workshop that's going to be held at Living Word Church, and that is in White Plains, but we are encouraging everyone in the area, Mamaroneck and White Plains area, Rye, to come out. It's a free seminar open to everyone. I would strongly encourage students from grades 5 and up to come, as well as concerned adults and parents.
And what are some of the highlights that you'll be speaking about?
We're going to be talking about many topics. It will be an open forum. I will show a video on Stop the Violence, Break the Silence, and I'm going to be teaching children and young adults on topics on what they can do if they're put in a situation, whether it be in school or in the community, and there's a conflict, how to resolve that conflict resolution skills.
And I understand you were telling me before that you actually will do some play acting to give people the exact structure and strategies to understand and work things out?
Yes, we will do some role playing. I will talk about refusal skills and peer pressure, and also I will encourage students that if there is not already a peer mediation program in place in their high school or middle school, how to go about starting one.
Marianne, again, the line here is Stop the Violence, Break the Silence. A violence prevention seminar will be at the Living Word Christian Church in Mamaroneck on October 21st?
September 21st.
I'm sorry, September 21st.
Yeah, this coming
Forgive
Friday.
me. And there is a phone number that you can call, which is 914-686-1400. This is a free program. I urge everyone to please come out in the Larchmont, Mamaroneck, Rye, and of course the White Plains area. Again, some of the topics that you will be highlighting?
Well, we're going to talk about finding solutions without fighting. A big topic is bullying, how to deal with bullying, whether in school or at the bus stop, in the cafeteria, at home, how to resolve conflicts peacefully. That will be a main topic.
The Mamaroneck Board of Trustees is considering new legislation to preserve waterfront properties. The proposed law would require property owners in Mamaroneck who want to build within 50 feet of Long Island Sound or its streams obtain a new permit. Property owners would have to apply to the Coastal Management Commission for the permit and show that the structure is dependent on water use, such as a boat launch, or that it cannot be reasonably located elsewhere. Under the proposal, current owners would not be required to obtain such a permit if repairing damage. In addition, those seeking to add docks, moorings, or breakwaters on or next to the water would not need new permits either. However, those wishing to build additional structures, such as a deck, parking spaces, or a garage, would require the new permits. The reason for the new permit proposal is the concern over pollution. For the second year in a row, officials have closed swimming at Harbor Island Park due to high bacteria levels. People who are looking to build along village waterways already have to go before the Coastal Commission to ensure their plans are consistent with the village's local revitalization plan. Some claim the current procedures are sufficient and the new proposal would cost people more time and money. The village refutes this perception, claiming that they do not expect the permit process to take more time or become burdensome. We will keep you updated as future hearings are scheduled.
Fall may be in the air, but the mosquitoes are still around, and with them, concerns about West Nile virus remain. Last week, 4 dead birds found in Westchester County tested positive for the West Nile virus, bringing the total number of dead infected birds in the county to 12 this year. 2 birds found last week were in our area, a dead crow in Mamaroneck Village and a dead blue jay in New Rochelle. County health officials have no plans to begin spraying pesticides. There were no human cases of West Nile virus reported in Westchester County this year. The Rye school system will benefit from the proceeds of a community golf outing, so go sign up. Here with the details is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel.
On October 1st, the Rye Community Fund is holding their 6th annual tennis and golf outing to raise money for the Rye School District and its community. Tennis will be held at the Beach Point Club in Rye at 9:30 a.m. and golf will be held at the Rye Golf Club at 12:30 p.m. There's a cocktail reception, closing awards, and raffle, which will be held at the Whitby Castle at 5 p.m. The cost is $75 per person for tennis and $165 per person for golf. Please call or write for registration forms to 540 Boston Post Road, Box 285, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543. The Rhineck Community Fund was established in 1995. Since then, they have used money for important projects and educational programs which fall outside the annual school budget. Again, please call Jill Lanza at 777-5263 and get involved in this golf and tennis outing for a great time and an even greater cause. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
Do you know what a basic life support coordinator does? Well, Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Christina Bolger does. Here's her report.
The town of Mamaroneck has hired Kelly Belnick of New Rochelle to be the new Basic Life Support Coordinator for the town's ambulance district. Ms. Belnick is an emergency medical technician, and her job responsibilities for this newly created position will be to recruit new members and administer both the Mamaroneck and Larchmont ambulance corps. The new job of Basic Life Support Coordinator was formed by the town of Mamaroneck because there has been a shortage in the past few months of volunteer emergency medical technicians to assist paramedics during emergencies. The post comes with a $30,000 salary, and Ms. Belnick will also assist paramedics in the field. Reporting for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Christina Bolger.
The village of Mamaroneck is known as the Friendly Village. The village of Larchmont is known as the Leafy Village. Do you know what they call the town of Mamaroneck? Well, it's the gathering place. Here with a quick lesson on the town of Mamaroneck is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray.
Do you live in the village of Larchmont, the village of Mamaroneck, or the town of Mamaroneck? For newcomers, this can be quite confusing. The town folks share the Larchmont Post Office and the Mamaroneck Post Office with the village folk. The area has a very mixed variety of homes and selling prices, which can start in the upper 300s and go to the multiple millions. The area is about 5.17 miles, running from Weaver Street and Boston Post Road to New Rochelle. The town includes Dillon Road, Premium Manor Road, and the Hummocks, Larchmont Woods, Larchmont Gardens, Howell Park, Maple Hill, and Rokin Glen. Included in the town is Winged Foot and Bonnie Briar Golf and Country Clubs, Leather Stocking and Sheldrake Trails, Hummocks Pool with the ice skating rink, and Badger Sports Club. In the 1890s, this area did not have a population to fulfill resident requirements for incorporation into one of the villages. Therefore, it was called the unincorporated area. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Glenna Gray.
In Larchmont, the Manor Park gazebo is in need of structural support. Here with the details is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel.
In the upcoming next few weeks, the Manor Park Society, led by President D.K. Brown and 7 trustees, will begin to look at the reconstruction of the historic East Gazebo in Manor Park. The gazebo, first developed in 1892 by the Larchmont Manor Company, was built in the 1930s and has stood many decades by the sand. Through the years, though, the gazebo has begun to lean a bit further east each day. This summer, repairs began on the roof of the beach house in Manor Park. Costs were reported at $70,000, and the work is not quite finished yet. The Larchmont Historical Society, led by historian Judith Spikes, raised $15,000 several years ago to repair 2 smaller structures on Umbrella Point. Ms. Spikes states that this next project looks like it will take a good deal more than that. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
The Larchmont Mamaroneck chapter of the League of Women Voters have invited 3 women from Uganda to learn more about women's roles in American democracy. With more, here's Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray.
The Larchmont Mamaroneck League of Women Voters will host 3 women from Uganda. These women are a part of a program sponsored by the League's Education Fund and the United States State Department of Education and Cultural Affairs. The purpose of the program is to share our form of democracy. The women will attend town and village board meetings, visit the TV studio, and will become part of a workshop on how we use the press in America. These events are geared to assist these women in developing their own grassroots organizations. Before coming to our area, they will have been in Casper, Wyoming. These particular women were chosen by the American Embassy in Kampala for their ability and their leadership qualities. 7 other African women are traveling to various cities in our nation in order to experience American-grown democracy. Our elected women officials will form a panel for discussion on how to be a woman in politics. For Larchmont Mamaroneck News, I'm Glenna Gray.
The Coast Guard Auxiliary Flotilla 73, located by the West Basin at Harbor Island Park in the village of Mamaroneck, is offering fall and winter courses in boating. For the details on how to sign up for the classes, here's Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Christina Bolger.
Do you own a boat? Have you ever been instructed on how to safely operate that boat? Well, here's your chance. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary Flotilla 73 that resides at Harbor Island Park near the West Basin is starting to form fall and winter boat safety classes. You can take a course in navigation, basic seamanship skills, engine maintenance, sailing, and overnight voyage planning. Some of the courses will also qualify you for the New York Boating Safety Certificate. This is required for all boaters who are between the ages of 10 and 17 years old. Also, if you are 23 years old or younger and want to use a personal watercraft, such as a jet ski, you will need to take this course and become certified. For more information about the boating courses offered by the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary Flotilla 73, you can contact Kent Steinagel at the flotilla at 381-3020. That number again, grab a pencil, is 381-3020. You can also email Mr. Steinagel at kpsteininn, that's N as in Nancy, AGEL, at yahoo.com. That email again is kpsteinnnagel at yahoo.com. Reporting for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Christina Bolger. Happy boating!
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 p.m. We record one show each week and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV, channel 71.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the new show. They will try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort and we could use a few more volunteers, either behind the scenes or as a reporter. Or maybe you'd like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC-TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. We get things started around 7 p.m. and we'd love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you would like us to put on this news show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Maura Carlin.
And I'm Alicia Myro. And now we hope you'll join us for a moment of silence to remember the victims and their families of the recent attack on our country.